This electric bike is available for $699 in the link below this video. It's definitely on the cheaper side for what we see on this channel. So where are the corners going to be cut? It's called the Cirq Coyote Lite with a claimed top speed of 20 miles an hour. They say we could do up to 60 miles of range if we pedal it. The motor is 500 watts peak. Looking at the spec sheet, the Coyote Lite definitely appears to be light on the specs and the price. So let's check this thing out and see what it's made of. And here's what it looks like when you get out of the box. And the packaging removed. And this bike basically comes almost fully assembled. We just got to throw the pedals on, which are plastic and folding pedals. And it is a folding e-bike, so the handlebars are foldable. And the frame folds in half right here. Here is a handle to grab it. It's got a rear rack that comes installed with a light on the rear. And of course it has a hub drive motor on the rear. It is Buffang branded. The number stamped on it show it is a 350 watt nominal power motor rated for 500 watts of peak power. It is running Tektro brakes with 180 millimeter rotors. They are mechanical brakes with the Tektro Aries calipers. And on the back side, it is running the same exact brake. And no suspension on the rear of this one, but it does have a basic RST carve suspension on the front with no adjustment. You can change the preload a little bit. It's a very basic shock. It does say racing suspension on it. I don't know about that, bro. There is a quick release on the front axle. Dropouts on this one are open dropouts. Comes with the fender installed as well as the headlight, which is actually a big help. That stuff's always a pain in the butt putting on. There is a spot to mount a basket on the front, and they give you a water bottle holder already on it. The seat has a quick release, so you can easily adjust it. Here's what the actual seat looks like on this one. It does have like a little rubber pad on there. Well, ergonomic grips. Here's how we change our pedal assist and turn it on. Running a ultra basic display here, simply called Intelligent. Now you do have a throttle on the right and a mysterious red button here. 7 gears, and you can also adjust the height of the handlebars. And to my surprise, this is a 48 volt electric bike. The charger reveals that because it does charge up to 54.6, which is the max charge of a 48 volt bike. It charges at 2.8 amps, which you could charge the battery on the bike. I want to take it off and look at it. Seat kind of gets in the way there just a little bit. What are you gonna do, bro? Battery is looking pretty basic, bro. It does have a USB port to charge a cell phone or something. The numbers say, I'm guessing that would be 48 volt, 13.2 amp hour. Website has it listed as a 48 volt, 13.4 amp hour. So let's drop it on the scale, see how much it weighs. 8.4 pounds. So that charger on that battery would take about 5 hours to charge from empty to full. It also has the whole weight of the bike listed as 57 pounds, which we will weigh in a moment. It is a relatively light e-bike. Yeah, so it is a folding e-bike. I like that it has this little handle right here. So in case you haven't seen how this works, the whole thing just kind of folds in half. Some of these fat tire e-bikes are like extremely heavy. Like some of them are very difficult to pick up. This one actually seems manageable, especially if you take the battery out. So the handlebars just kind of fold in half. And the whole thing gets pretty compact. So I want to pick it up and subtract my weight of 292.2. 192.2. Ooh, definitely has a little bit of weight to it, but not too bad for an e-bike. Scale says 239.6, 47.4 pounds for just the bike. And then add about 8 pounds for the battery. So that just latches closed like that, and there's a little extra security thing there to make sure it doesn't come out. It's got a Pro Wheel chainring and a Shimano Altus derailleur with a guard on there. There are 7 gears on the back with a rather huge granny gear. That's for some low speed pedaling or hill climbing. And I'll turn it on in just a minute, but first I just want to hop on it. So I am 6'5", inseam 34, big, wide, low step through frame. Makes it super easy to get on this thing. Very nimble, light feeling bike. Hopping on the seat, here's kind of what 6'5" dude looks like chilling on it. So I have the handlebars all the way up. Seat is also all the way raised. This is kind of what I'm looking like on this one. So these foldable e-bikes usually have the ability to drop the handlebars. This one does. Well, not every, but most e-bikes you can drop the seat on as well. So this one goes way down. This is the kind of e-bike that could fit riders of a lot of different heights. On the smallest setting, this thing is actually pretty compact, pretty small e-bike, probably pretty approachable on the power too. So let's turn it on. We'll press that power button and power's right up. So the display is very, very basic. No color on it whatsoever. If we hold the plus button, we might get a backlight. Yes, we do, because that turns on the lights. 5 levels of pedal assist, get some basic readouts. Nothing too fancy on this one. I wonder what this button does though. There's what the rear light looks like. It's actually pretty bright. If I grab the brake lever, it actually gives a little brake light too. I do need to tighten up that headlight. There's what it's looking like shining on the wall. And I'm guessing this will activate the throttle. Spins up to 20 as promised. Let's see what happens now. Oh yeah, so that turns the throttle off. Neat. It's kind of like a decent safety feature to have. You don't want to whiskey throttle these things, even if it is only 500 watts, right? But let's top off the charge and then get it out for a rip. Or I don't think you could consider a rip on a 500 watt e-bike. All right, dudes, let's check out the Cirq Coyote Lite for a ride and really just kind of bring it back to the roots of what even is an electric bicycle. I feel like most of the stuff that we've been reviewing on this channel for a while has largely become electric motorcycles, whereas we got something lightweight, lower power, more of a pedal assist electric bicycle today at a reasonable price. So let's go ahead and give it a go at the 20% grade. I weigh 200 pounds. This electric bicycle really isn't too heavy. We'll try throttle only, but it's only 500 watts of peak power, 350 watts of nominal power. And to my surprise, this thing actually feels, wow. I did not think it was gonna be able to climb this on its own. Impressive. So that just kind of goes to show power to weight ratio is a thing. I think I said 50 Newton meters of torque on this one, and we have a huge granny gear on it. So because this e-bike is light, pedaling it will actually make a significant difference, and you can get exercise on this bike. And if the battery were to die, you'd probably be all right. I'll tell you more about the pedal assist systems when I get to the beach here in a minute. And let's get a 0 to 20 rip in on this thing real quick. There is a throttle on off switch, which is pretty cool. So with a 200 pound rider, let's see what it can do. Ready, go. So it gets up and goes decent actually. 10, 15, 20, and it'll bring you just beyond 20 with throttle only. So due to the lighter weight, this actually, you know, feels fairly quick. And with the short 20-inch wheels on short tires, low step through frame, I mean, this is a really approachable electric bike. You know, this would make, you know, a pretty good e-bike for a beginner, but definitely seems like it has enough power on tap to get you in just a little bit of trouble. So I think the company website has the top speed of this one listed as 20 miles an hour. On throttle, it will cut you off at 20. Let's see if this thing can keep up with some traffic out here. Oh, a little bit of bump there and pedaling. Yeah, it just cuts you off at 20, which feels appropriate for this electric bicycle. If you want more speed, more power, they do have the bigger brother to this bike, the Cirq Coyote Plus. We'll be checking that out later. So if you need something super crazy fast, the Coyote Lite might not be the option to keep up, you know, in traffic out here. But 20 is pretty fast. It's about as fast as you can pedal a normal non-motorized bike. So if you're looking for a speed demon, look elsewhere. So let's talk about the pedal assist systems. You can put this thing on pedal assist 0, get no power from the motor at all, and you'll be all right, man. You can pedal this thing, you know, get a little workout. If your battery were to die, you'll be all right. I mean, you got the pedals, this thing is not excessively heavy, no problem just riding with no power assist. So let's try pedal assist 1. So it's a cadence sensor, which if you're new to e-bikes, a cadence sensor does not measure how hard you're pressing on the pedals at all. It just gives you a steady speed essentially. So that'll just hold us at basically 9 miles an hour here. It doesn't matter if I press as hard as I want, like we're still just stuck at 9 or 10 miles an hour. And then if we want to go faster, you got to throw it on pedal assist 2. That'll give you a little boost in power, bring you up just a little bit faster in terms of speed, 12 miles per hour. But still on the throttle, you get access to all the power. It'll take you up to 20 miles per hour. The throttle is awesome to get you going off the line, give you all that power, and then you can pedal it if you want. And one thing I am noticing about this bike is there's a little bit of a lag from the time you use the throttle to the time it gives you power. I'd say like a solid 2 to 3 seconds from the time you twist that. So there's kind of pros and cons to that. One of the pros is like you're not gonna accidentally just blip it and throw yourself off the back, because it kind of gives you just a little bit of like a warning, I guess you could say. So to touch on the suspension and off-roading abilities of this bike a bit, the front shock is extremely soft. So it makes it really easy to bottom out the suspension if you hit something, you know, kind of big. On the other end of that is, it makes it like really usable suspension for like riding on the street. So the suspension on the front actually feels real nice. There is no suspension on the rear. You could always add a suspension seat post. Just riding along stuff like this, we're getting pretty good use of the travel on that front suspension due to it being so soft. But you know, if you pop off here, yeah, I mean, just going like this, I can bottom it out completely. Again, makes it really useful suspension for street riding where this bike should be ridden. If you're looking for, you know, more off-roading, look at the Coyote Plus. Another reason to look at the Coyote Plus would be if you want to do sand riding. Let's see what this can do. The tires are pretty skinny, and yeah, we pretty much just sink right in there. It's really just not enough power on this bike and the wrong tires for sand riding. You need some 4-inch knobbies to get through that. So what is the lag like on the cadence sensor? I'm rotating my legs and now I feel the power. So both on the account of throttle and rotating your legs, there's, you know, about a 2-second delay until you get that actual power, which it's going to prevent you from accidentally sending big spikes of power. This is something that's kind of useful for like a newbie rider, but it could, you know, bring a little bit of frustration if you want the power quicker. Also, there may be a way to get into the settings and change what that delay is. Regardless of the delay, you still have the cadence sensor. So let's see what this thing's like to pedal at speed. So on gear number 7 yeah, I mean, you're kind of running out of gear right at about, yeah, my legs are rotating pretty quickly to keep up at 20 miles per hour. So this thing is definitely geared for some slower speed pedaling, which makes sense since the max speed on this is 20. Which 20 compared to some of the stuff we ride on this channel doesn't seem fast, but you can see we're moving pretty quick out here. And I have some pretty important comments about range and brakes here in a few, but first, let's take it up the 85-foot California incline. I'm actually kind of curious if I could throw this thing on pedal assist 0 and see if I can pedal this thing up this at all. Well, we're just throwing on pedal assist 1. Oh yeah. So once we put on pedal assist 1, it gives you all the torque, and let's just use throttle now, throw it on pedal assist 2. So that'll pull us right up this hill. Obviously, if we could do the 20% grade, this is even easier. Well, let's see how long the motor can hold up. Starting from the base of the California incline, we'll do full throttle. Actually, let off for a minute here, and full throttle. And plenty torquey enough. Already hitting about 13. So it's 500 watts of peak power is what they say, 350 watts of nominal power. There's no power meter on here, but you know, this hill is very hard to do on a non-motorized bike. I'm just throttling straight up it. 12% grade, climbing 85 feet from, you know, down there by the beach, holding right around 17 miles an hour, completely effort-free. And the motor is not overheating, controller's not overheating, no sign of the power letting up. So comfortable. Now going down the California incline, we could probably hit higher than 20 miles an hour. With these mechanical brakes, I really don't want to put my full faith in these lines holding up. You got to have those lines tightened down just properly so they don't snap on you. I wouldn't want something to go wrong barreling into this wall at 20, so we'll take it easy. Since they are mechanical brakes, they're not nearly as smooth as hydraulics, and what I mean by that is like I can kind of feel the brakes like grabbing and not grabbing, grabbing, not grabbing. You know, it's like a different amount of like negative power being applied, even though I'm keeping the brake levers like real consistent. If you didn't know any better about brakes, like you pull these levers, they work just fine. You know, they stop you. They feel plenty powerful for this lightweight electric bicycle. But you know, if you compare them to hydraulics or something that's a little bit more expensive, higher caliper, like watch, I'll go ahead and give them a strong pull here. Yeah, they bring this thing to a halt real quick. And I actually really like the little rubber pads on the front of these Tektro mechanical brakes. But, you know, all things considered, they're just not as good as hydraulic brakes, and most e-bikes are running hydraulics these days. Granted, this bike is pretty inexpensive compared to most of the stuff we see on this channel. So when you go to do a quick stop like this, yeah, this thing comes to a stop real quick. All right, dudes, we're gonna head on home, see what the final range is. I'll share my final thoughts on this thing along the way. So if you've been paying attention to this review at all, you know this is a basic entry-level electric bicycle. This thing, you know, in my mind, the way I see this is like, you know, if you need a bike that you can fold up to put in the back of a car, or, you know, store away in a smaller place, like in a smaller apartment that takes up a smaller footprint. This is a great option for that, as long as you don't need something that's like extremely high speed. You know, it goes 20 miles per hour, which is way faster than you're going to be going on a non-motorized bike with basically no effort if you just use throttle. I do like that you can turn off the throttle if you want to force yourself to get some exercise, or use it as a safety feature so you don't accidentally, you know, as a newbie, whiskey throttle it off. So if you're trying to get exercise on an electric bike, it's nice that this one is like lighter weight, and when you actually pedal it, it gives you like meaningful power. Now it is a cadence sensor, so it's not quite as intuitive of a riding experience as compared to a torque sensor. You can pedal this thing, get some exercise actually, and make a meaningful impact on your range. Also, with the skinnier tires, you're gonna be a little more efficient on your range, and also because it's got a smaller battery and a lighter weight, you're gonna get more range as well. And with the skinnier tires, they make less noise. So if you didn't notice yet, this bike is basically completely silent. The hub motor does make a little bit of noise, but that's about it. Another practical feature on this bike is the ability to raise and lower the handlebars as well as the seat, so this thing can fit riders of multiple heights. You could share this amongst more than one rider, you know, have like a family safe electric bike in terms of speed anyway. And for the price, you know, it's not bad, man. So $6.99 in the link below this video. I also have a little coupon code down there to save you a little bit of extra money on your order if you do decide to buy this bike, and also help support my reviews. And I greatly appreciate your support if you do decide this is the electric bike for you. But before you buy it, let's head on home, see what kind of range we end up. So per usual, I'm just throttling all the way home at 20 miles per hour, not pedaling. All right, just rolling back into the neighborhood. Let's talk about range here. So we rode for an hour and 20 minutes, 12.27 miles per hour at average speed, and 16.61 miles was the distance we covered. So if we look at the battery readout here, it's actually showing 4 bars remaining. So well over half remaining on the battery. So let's just analyze that a little bit. So we have a fairly lightweight electric bike. Now the battery is not the largest battery we've ever seen, and the speed is capped at 20 miles per hour. So just the fact, you know, that this bike is light and our speed is kind of capped, and it's really only drawing a peak of 500 watts. That's just gonna give you more efficiency. We got those thin tires as well, not a lot of rotational mass on those wheels and tires, so that's gonna up your efficiency. So in general, this is just kind of like an efficiency machine, not like a power monster. Since the whole thing is not that heavy, actually pedaling this thing does increase your range a considerable amount. So 17 miles, still 60–70% remaining on the battery, not bad at all. Cirq Coyote Lite makes for a good lightweight, entry-level-ish kind of neighborhood cruiser. So if you want to grab one, use that link down below the video, use my discount code, it'll get you the best price and also help support my reviews, and I greatly appreciate your support. However, if this is not the kind of electric bicycle you're looking for, you should definitely watch this video right here.